Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all well. A little sneak peek into the Yorkshire Pop Top Adventures show studio coming up in the new year, our new midweek video, so look forward to seeing that. But for now, it's time for me to crack on and show you the hiking gear that I take with me on all of my walks. So let's talk about base layers. I'm a massive fan of wearing a base layer and then layering up on top of that, because inevitably when I set off on my walk, I'm a little bit chilly, so I've got all of the layers on. And then about 500 yards into a small incline, I'm starting to strip off the layers. Now that's important because what I used to do was wear a massive jacket and it was either on or it was off. So I'd get walking, I'd get too hot, I'd take it off, and then I get freezing and I put it back on again and I get boiling. There was no in between. By the way, I never go hiking in my dry robe. That's illegal. This was just for video demonstration purposes only. Back to the studio. If I'm wearing lots of different layers, I can sort of edit the comfort levels of heat. And then that brings me on to my OEX base layer. Now, none of the products I'm going to show you in this video are sponsored. It's all just my choosing, things that I've picked over the years that work well with how I walk. And you guys have asked to see the things that I take out with me on my walks and my hikes, so this is basically that video. I got this from Go Outdoors probably about 10 years ago, and I've got about 3 of these now. These are great for walking because then you can layer on top of it. Certainly in winter, in summer, you know, you're probably just gonna wear a nice t-shirt, but yeah, in winter, I'll definitely be wearing this. And I also wear this when I'm around the fire pit in an evening. Obviously change it if I've been on a walk in it all day, but I absolutely love my OEX tops. They do keep me warm, and I can't wait to be wearing that on the next camp out that I do. So on top of the OEX base layer that I wear, I also wear this blue top. I've got a very similar one in black as well. It's not too thick. Again, with layering up, you just want sort of semi-thick layers. Personally, in my opinion, I think that works the best, because then I can, you know, maybe unzip this a little bit or take this off and just have the base layer on and a waterproof jacket. We'll come on to jackets in a minute, but I absolutely love this. There's one slight different design on this one. This is a little bit thinner, so if I'm finding that it's a bit of a warmer day or whatever, then this will be my second base layer. This one I prefer because it's got thumb holes at the end of the sleeves. Now I've got like gangly arms, and I always find that when I'm walking, the sleeves are either not long enough by design, or they end up working their way up and I end up with like a cold bit here or a gap between my glove and my top. So I do like this one. This is just a cheap Amazon one. I'll put a link in the description below to that one. And then this one, I can't even pronounce the brand. I cannot even pronounce the brand. It's spelled, in fact, I'll put the word up on screen now. Skogstout, no idea. Got it from a local walking shop that sadly is no longer open anymore. But I've had this about 10 years and I absolutely love it. You've probably seen me wear this in every single hiking video that is on my channel at the moment. So yeah, absolutely love this top. And it really does complement the OEX base layer with that on top, and then potentially you could put a t-shirt on there, a walk-in one, and then a warm jacket or anything like that, because that, then you've got layers and it keeps you warm but not too hot, and you've got the option. Now, an area where I don't think personally you need to spend a lot of money is trousers. Now, do correct me if I'm wrong. Put it in the comment section below, because anybody watching this video will watch what I say, they'll read what you put, and then they can make a more informed decision based on other people's opinions and things like that. However, these are the trousers that I've got. They're about 30 quid from off of Amazon. I've had them ages. They're probably the most talked about trousers on the channel. Every time I do a video, everyone's like, where do you get those trousers from? Where do you get those trousers from? And yeah, they're from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below to these bad boys. I've got about 4 or 5 pairs with different designs. Yeah, some of them are all black. This one's like black and grey. I do have some khaki ones. I don't wear those in the videos because I look like I'm on some sort of safari. But yeah, I don't think you need to spend a load of money on them. Make sure they're comfortable, because there's nothing worse than being uncomfortable on a walk. So make sure you try them, go on a bit of a test walk, and then see what you think. But I absolutely love these. They're not waterproof, they're showerproof. If it is going to absolutely throw it down, I'll put my waterproof trousers on, which we'll come on to in just a minute. So regular viewers of the channel will know that on at least 90% of my walks, it's raining. So I have invested in some waterproof trousers. I've had these a long time, probably about 10 years, going back to my old Jovial Campers days. And I did make a mistake not so long back by washing these and then not reproofing them, which meant that they weren't waterproof or water resistant. And now I've reproofed them, thanks to you guys commenting in the comment section of that video. They are now reproofed, they are brilliant, and they're absolutely fine. Now, what I sometimes do, instead of wearing these, depends, if it's cold, I'll wear both. But if it's kind of like a muggy day, I won't wear these, I'll just wear these, because that then stops me from sweating from the inside out. But, you know, when you've got 2 on, you are layered up. However, if it is raining, I do find that there's a lot more moisture in the air. I tend to sweat from the inside out more, so I'll just wear these, and then when I get back to the van, at least I've got some dry trousers to put on when I get back. These are by a company called Sprayway. Again, I think I picked them up from Go Outdoors. They were on sale, probably about 50 quid, but absolutely essential if you go hiking in the UK, certainly if you go hiking at the same time as me. So keeping on the theme of rain, which is pretty much the theme of the channel every time I go walking, this is my waterproof jacket. It's by a company called Montane, I'm sure you'll correct me in the comment section, and I absolutely love it. Again, I made the mistake of not reproofing it and not washing it in the correct stuff, but now I've washed it in Nick Wax and I've re-Nick Waxed it. It's brilliant. Not only is it great for keeping me dry when it's wet, it's brilliant for keeping the wind off when it's a bit warm. So the higher you go in a mountain, it might get a bit chillier, but not cold enough to put a thicker jacket on. So this will just keep the wind off, stop you from sweating too much, certainly if you've layered up like I said earlier in the video. So this is always in my bag, just in case. It just goes in the top of my bag, and we'll talk about my bag in a minute, just in case it does start raining and I just need to throw on a waterproof jacket. I've done it before in other videos. I think the Crib Gok one, when it just started randomly throwing it down because I'm on a hike. There are alternatives out there. There are great, cheaper jackets out there. Find one that works for you, but make sure it's waterproof and breathable. I think this is Gortex. I don't actually know what that means. There are great videos out there that explain what Gortex is, whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing. I don't know. I bought it because it says Gortex. It keeps me dry. It's brilliant. And I'll put in a link in the description below. Nice. Moving on from waterproof jackets, same brand, different jacket. Now you will have seen me wear this a million times in the videos. It's great for just walking around like towns and cities and things, but also great for keeping you warm when you're out and about in the fells. I absolutely love it. It's by the same company, Montane, whatever it is. It's probably a French word, don't know. Now you probably tell, I don't know if you can see in this video, but it's mucky, it's got holes in it from fire pit, and that's because it's like my teddy bear from childhood. It's just my comfort blanket. I love it. I've always got this on. I really, really like it. Again, whatever, I mean, I've had this such a long time, there might not be a link to it, but if there is, I'll put something very similar in the description, so then you can have a look at it yourself. I wear it around the fire pit. When it gets really, really cold, I just put my dry robe on, but the internet don't allow you to wear it unless you're doing swimmings or paddle boardings. I think it's top tip time. Top tip time! This is also something that I take with me on every single hike. It's just a microfiber towel. Got it from Go Outdoors. I think it's High Gear branded. It's brilliant. It's lightweight. It's tiny. It goes up really small. And do you know what? It's come in handy for wiping my camera gear down, lenses, keeping the quiff nice and dry after it stopped raining for filming, or just wiping myself down before I go into a cafe. So I don't want to be dripping everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think just having a small microfiber towel with you on any walk is brilliant to have, because you know you can get changed and showered when you get back, but it's just good for those little opportune moments. Now, an area where I really do think you should be spending good money on, and don't get me wrong, it pains me as a Yorkshireman to say that, is your footwear. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy these exact shoes, and I'll get onto why in a minute, and there are a few caveats, which I'll get onto in a minute too. Your feet are the only point of contact between you and the ground throughout the entirety of the walk, unless you slip and fall on your backside on the Teflon slightly angled down coated surfaces in the Lake District. Apart from that, most of the time, this is your, in fact, all of the time, this is your only point of contact with you and the ground. If you've got a small niggle in your foot 500 yards into the walk because your shoes aren't right, it's going to be horrendous by the end of the walk. Certainly if it's a long walk, 10, 20 miles, it could even be several blisters. And you're going to be thinking about that and not your walk and not how lovely it is or your energy levels or whatever. You're just going to be thinking about how horrible your feet are. And trust me, I've been there, I've done that. So getting the right shoe for you is imperative. Now, the reason why I'm not going to say go out and buy these is because I think you need to go to the shop or a shop and try shoes on. It's a very personal thing. I tried these, other shoes, walked around the shop. I also bought some slightly oversized ones. These were 11.5, my size is 11, but I knew I was going to be wearing some really thick socks. We'll get onto socks in a minute. So I wanted to give that breathing space so that my feet weren't all smushed in. Smushed is definitely a word. Now, one of the caveats to expensive shoes is there's no point going out and spending 200, 300, 400, 500 pounds on some shoes if you're only going to go for a half a mile meander with a dog, or you're just going out on little family trips with the little ones and the buggy or whatever, or you're not really into your hiking and scrambling and doing 10, 15, 20 mile walks. I mean, you can get these if you really want. I'm not telling you not to, but what I'm saying is that these are really sort of purposely made for more intense walks, further walks, scrambly walks. You know, these have got little rubber bits on the front so then you can grip on the climby bits and whatever. This is more geared towards going out and hiking in the fells or going on long distance walks in different kinds of weathers. And I learned from a lot of you guys, and I'd like to thank you for that, because sometimes I'll do a walk, I'll post it on my social media, and then the comments will be, oh, why didn't you try this? Why didn't you try that? These are one of the things that I bought because of your comments. Now, these are waterproof socks, and they genuinely are waterproof. Now, there's different brands you can get. You can get sealskins. I've got a pair of sealskins. These are Endura. I got them from my local cycling shop, and I think you can get them from like ski shops. You get them online, things like that. They're all sorts of stuff. But these are brilliant. Not only are they really comfortable and warm, but they do keep your feet dry. Now, I'm not saying these will let water in, but if you go into a bog, not saying I've done that, or just like a friend of mine did once, you've got to be really careful underfoot. The minute you turn it off is the minute you end up in a bog. I wish it had been on video. If you go into a bog that goes over that, you know what I mean? There's wet going in there, regardless of what you pay for the shoe. My initial thought was it'd be like wearing some co-op bags on my feet, but they don't. I highly recommend that you get some waterproof socks if you're walking in the wet or the rain or just general moist, horrible conditions. I hate that word moist. Never use that word again, Cole. You've used it twice in one video. Moving aside from clothing for just a second, this is not a sponsored section, don't worry. None of this video is sponsored. I use a company called Outdoor Active as my primary navigation unit and planner for my walks. Now, I can already feel you typing, map purist, you need a map and a compass, you need a map and a compass. You are right, you are absolutely right. You do need a map and a compass, but my map and compass is there as a backup, not as my primary navigation system. I use the app so I know exactly where I am at any one time. Now, the reason I use that is because it did become a lifesaver when me and a friend of mine got stuck in a whiteout once. A map and a compass would have been useless. We'd have known where north, south, east and west was, but we'd have had no point of reference because it was a complete whiteout. Now, I know these times and these events are few and far between, and we accidentally ended up in a whiteout because the weatherman was wrong. You know, we wouldn't have planned to have gone out in that sort of weather. But the map and the compass would not have helped. The fact that we had GPS on our phones and we could look down and go, we are directly on the path. There's a difference between being directly on the path and going, yeah, it's going down a little bit, to going, I think we're on the path, I don't know, I can't read the map, oh crap, there's a cliff. I think it's important that you take a power bank with you, if not two, so then at least you've got backups to be able to power your phone if you're going to run out of battery. That's great, but then your other backup of that backup is your map. So yeah, just as a side note before we go into the next thing. So moving back to clothing, an item that I think you should have with you most of the time, certainly when the temperature drops, is a pair of gloves. Now these gloves, I think I picked them up for a tenner at the National Trust shop at Langdale. I think it was the campsite at Langdale. And I'd forgotten my gloves one trip, and these were a tenner from the shop, and I wear them all the time now. When I go dog walking in autumn, or when I get to the top of a fell, sometimes it's warm enough to not have gloves on at the bottom of a fell, but by the time you're 2,000-3,000 foot up, it might be a bit chillier. So put these on, just takes the edge off, they're really nice, unless it's raining, because, you know, fleece gloves aren't going to work very well in the rain. That moves me on to my next set of gloves. These bad boys don't really come out unless it's really cold and it's raining or it's snowing or anything like that. I absolutely love these. I got these from our local ski shop. I know we live nowhere near a ski slope. However, we've got a ski shop. But that aside, these have been absolutely brilliant for me. Not only for just sort of sitting around the campfire or sitting outside the van, or even when I did wild camp, we'd just be sat outside the tents without a fire. These would keep my fingers warm and dry as well with them in Gortex. Now, I don't know what the brand is. Ziener, Z-I-E-N-E-R, Gortex gloves. You probably can't get them anymore. I got them that long ago. And the guy in the shop, although he was probably trying to sell me gloves, said to me not to get gloves where your fingers go right to the edge. He said, because if there's a slight gap, then your fingers are going to stay a little bit warmer. That's rung true for me, so maybe you weren't just trying to sell me gloves, maybe that is the truth. In fact, the guy in the shop said to me, he says, the ultimate glove is a mitten. Now, they're not always convenient, certainly if you're getting things in and out of your bag or using cameras and things. But he said, yeah, the ultimate glove is a mitten. He said, because when all the people are together, they keep each other warm. How lovely is that? But yeah, I've had no problems with these, and I think that, you know, you wouldn't go far wrong getting some decent waterproof gloves. I think sealskins do a set as well, you know, very similar to the socks, but I've had no problems with these. I love them to bits. They weren't expensive. I think they were like 25 quid, and they're Gortex. And it's a lot of money for gloves, but you know, not a lot of money considering the amount of material and how they've been made and everything. I don't know. Moving on. Now you're probably all sat there thinking he's taking cameras, batteries, power banks, maps, spare clothes, waterproof jackets, gloves. What does he put it in? Now, I put it in this bag, and I found this bag to be the perfect bag for me. And the reason I'll go into it now. Now, it's not a full review of the bag. If you want me to do a full review of the bag, I will do. Just pop it in the comment section below. But right now, it's just to show you pretty much how I would pack this, or what I would put in various compartments. Now, in here, usually map straight in there, done and dusted, compass, gloves, a couple of energy gels, whatever, things I might need to get to pretty quickly. It's not that important, this section, but it just gives you the option to be able to put those things in there. Now, in this top half, this is where I usually put either my warm jacket, my waterproof jacket, gloves, food, all the things that I know I'm going to need for hiking on that particular day, which is perfect. Also, in this little section here, I've touched on this before in an older video, I will link my keys. I've got a little carabiner here. I'll link my keys to that, so then when I do open this, they're not going to go flying out, and then I have to go back up to the top of the fell at the end of the day to go find my keys. Now, the reason I like this bag so much as a photographer is because on the back, which I think is the safest place to have any camera equipment, because if this zip does fail, it's against my back, it's not going to fall out. Not only that, if we're somewhere like, I don't know, a dodgy town, wherever that may be, or there might be pickpockets, then at least all your expensive gear is zipped up against your back. No one can get in there without you finding out. You know, they can get in here and in here, so don't put your phones and stuff in there, but everything in here is perfect. Now, wine gum, lovely. I love wine gums on walks, the race. So in here, this is all set up compartment-wise to suit how I pack my camera bag and stuff like that. Now that camera usually goes in there, and I put some filters in there. You know, I've got another camera that goes in there, and then you've got your power bank that goes in there. It does get heavy, obviously, which is why sometimes I just take that camera and not the big camera. And then obviously spare batteries, all sorts of bits go in there. I think I take more stuff than you probably would do, because I've got spare microphones, all sorts of bits like leads and wires and stuff that you might not take. But if you're a photographer, you're going to want your camera in there, some spare lenses, batteries, things like that, which I think is perfect. Now, if you didn't want to use this bag specifically as a camera bag, or you only had one camera, you can take all of these out and just leave one section in the bottom or in the top, so you can put your camera in there, and then you can put your sandwiches in there or other bits and stuff like that, which I think that's why it's so perfect, and I absolutely love this. This has been my go-to bag. It zips up so easily. It's been my go-to bag for about 5 years now. On the side there, you've got a pocket on either side that holds drinks. I usually put my tripod in one side. It's got little clips and stuff that hold it together, and then the other side I'll put a drink, or if I'm not taking my tripod, I'll put a drink in either side, so I've got loads of drinks. Absolutely love it. Now, one thing, quite nicely, a subscriber pointed out to me, and I have purchased this thing that I'm going to talk about, is this is green. It's kind of camouflage, the same color as the fells. I wear black most of the time when I'm walking on the fells. That's fine if you want to just disappear into the fells, but not fine if you go over on your ankle and mountain rescue are trying to find you. You need something that's brightly coloured so that they can see you. So what I have done is I've invested in this does come with a rain cover, but it's the same colour as the bag. I've invested in a bright coloured cover. In fact, quite a few bright coloured covers, a blue one, a red one, and like a luminous yellow one. So then, depending on what environment I'm in, I'm going to stick out the most, just in case. I'm not doing anything dodgy, I've got nothing to hide, so I might as well stick out a little bit just in case I do fall. Then I've got like basically a beacon that's brightly coloured, so then any rescue teams, if they are looking for me, can find me. I think that's super important to remember as well. It's all right buying all this dark coloured clothing and it looks all snazzy and stuff. Do wear something that's going to make you stick out a little bit, or take a bobble hat that's brightly coloured. One thing we used to say on our old channel was, it's not a fashion show on the fell. Now, I think that rings true when it comes to safety. If you think I need to take something else with me, like I've forgotten something, or you've seen me use something in a video that I couldn't remember to include in this video, pop it down in the comment section below. I'll add it to a Colin Answers Your Questions section. If you're new here and you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to Colin Answers Your Questions, pretty much at the end of every video that I do, I sit around a fire pit, open a beer, and answer questions that the subscribers have asked. Subscribe!